Although they debuted in 1985, Bagel Bites were synonymous with the 1990s, the decade that saw them fill the freezers of virtually every suburban home in America. But other than the fact that you can eat them in the morning, eat them in the evening, or eat them at supper time, what do you really know about them? The world's most famous brand of tiny frozen pizzas seem to have appeared out of nowhere. So, today we're heating up the delicious history of Bagel Bites. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other iconic snacks you would like to hear about. Okay, you can start singing the jingle right about now.
In the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
Hi, today on Cafe Zoom, we're going to be making a pizza bagel.
The East and West coasts of the United States have been embroiled in some historic feuds. But the most controversial coast-to-coast battle of them all has to be the dispute over who invented the pizza bagel. The West Coast contingent credits Bruce Treitman, a Los Angeles-based financial advisor, who claims that he invented the pizza bagel while experimenting with new recipes in the kitchen of a Western bagel in Woodland Hills, California, way back when he was in high school. But East Coasters backed Richard Katz of the Chelsea, Massachusetts-based Katz Bagel Bakery. A third-generation bagel baker, Katz insists his father, Harry Katz, invented pizza bagels sometime in the early 1970s. Both men have pointed to evidence they believe substantiate their respective claims, and neither seems willing to accept the idea that putting tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese on a bagel might be a prime example of parallel thinking.
Be creative and try all the ideas that you want. Bon appetit.
Regardless of who came up with the idea, neither of those guys thought of turning the idea into a frozen food, which is to say, neither invented Bagel Bites. And for that, they have no one to blame but themselves.
No, I was here before you were even born.
Bagel Bites were officially invented in 1985 by tennis partners Bob Mosher and Stanley Garzinski of Fort Myers, Florida. But according to Garzinski, it was really more like a team effort between the men and their respective wives. Mosher was in the catering business, and one night while at a party with Garzinski and their significant others, he complained that it was hard to find things kids liked to eat. Someone, no one remembers who, observed the only thing kids really like is pizza. This truism would echo throughout the 80s and 90s. From there, the conversation evolved to coming up with some sort of pizza-related hors d'oeuvre for children. Someone came up with the idea of using bagels. Someone else suggested the name Bagel Bites. And that's how the single most important conversation in the history of frozen snack foods took place. The two invested $20,000 into the company, rented a 2,000 square foot warehouse in Fort Myers, and focused all their efforts on getting their frozen snack business off the ground. To get a toehold, they started out by targeting hotels, bars, and restaurants in their hometown. And the strategy worked big time. They sold $500,000 worth of Bagel Bites in their first year alone. That's a lot of middle school birthday parties. According to Garzinski, he and Mosher made all the original Bagel Bites by hand on an assembly line. The bagels would be dumped out, and a little cylinder would then pump some sauce onto them. Cheese would be sprinkled on top, and then it would go into the freezer until it was time to be shipped. The two would travel to big national food shows in places like Chicago, Boston, Atlanta, Dallas, and, for obvious reasons, would always try to get a booth near the beer vendors. Because the only people who like frozen pizza more than children are drunk adults. The strategy paid off, and they sold Bagel Bites by the bagful, making their first big sales to price clubs like Sam's Club, BJ's, Macro, and Costco. Garzinski would later recall that they made $500,000 in their first year, and just a few years later, they were raking in $10 million. After that, big brands started hounding them to sell. They held out until 1987, when they sold the company to John Labatt Company, a major Canadian food manufacturer. Some days you buy company, some days a company buys you. And in 1991, Heinz bought a large portion of John Labatt Company. Heinz began selling Bagel Bites under their Ore-Ida brand, which also produces other frozen foods like French fries and tater tots.
To sum it all up, I'd say they really taste, good. Ore-Ida, America's favorite brand of frozen potatoes, because they really taste good.
As for Mosher and Garzinski, they decided to stick around a while. Mosher was put in charge of managing the factory that made Bagel Bites, which by that point had swelled to 350 employees. Garzinski was put in charge of North America club sales for Bagel Bites and all kinds of other products. After their 5-year contracts expired, the two decided they were ready for a new challenge. That challenge turned out to be building commercial and retail properties at their new companies, Sox Development Incorporated and Sox Investments. Their first project? Building a new Bagel Bites factory for Heinz. Bagel Bites are like the Corleone family. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. If there's one thing American culture teaches us, it's that you should never underestimate the power of a good advertising jingle. Jingles taught generations of kids to be all we can be, and that our bologna has a first name. The Bagel Bites jingle is almost as famous as the product itself, and many of you watching could probably sing the entire thing from memory. According to the lyrics, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. It really makes you think about pizza bagels. Before you congratulate Bagel Bites on coming up with such a catchy little earworm, know that it's actually just a twist on a song from 1957 by the McGuire sisters called Sugar Time.
Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time. Be my little sugar and love me all the time.
It's not bad, but it definitely doesn't make us want Bagel Bites as much as the other version, so you can see why they made the change. Rock singer Meat Loaf has always been very open about the fact that he would do anything for love. But based on an appearance he made on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, it seems that when he's not searching for paradise by the dashboard light, Meat would also do anything for Bagel Bites. On April 26, 2011, the crooner took the stage as Fallon's musical guest, duetting with the host himself on a parody of the famous Bagel Bites jingle. The title of the operatic parody was Ode to Bagel Bites, and it featured the duo emotionally explaining that Bagel Bites could, exactly as the jingle claims, be eaten anytime. Not every jingle gets belted out by a Grammy winner. In 2000, Bagel Bites joined AT&T, Nike, Mountain Dew, Taco Bell, and Volkswagen to sponsor ESPN's 2000 Winter X Games, touted as the Winter Olympics of extreme sports. Despite all those heavy hitters, according to ESPN, one company that didn't need any help attracting crowds to its tents was Ore-Ida Bagel Bites. Crowds were standing 4 and 5 deep to get a free sample of the bite-sized pizza bagels. One of the bagel slingers who worked the event told the network, "We've served around 7,000 Bagel Bites in the last 2 days. It's been a great experience. We can't seem to make them fast enough, and we're expecting people tomorrow." But the non-stop foot traffic wouldn't be the only win Bagel Bites scored at the Winter X Games. They recruited a special spokesman for the occasion, Tony Hawk. Often referred to as the Michael Jordan of skateboarding, Tony Hawk is a professional skateboarder, entrepreneur, and eternal teenager who gifted us all the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series of video games. So when Bagel Bites snagged his endorsement for the Winter X Games, they decided to send the legendary extreme athlete on a national radio tour promoting their sponsorship. As prolific a pitchman as he is a skateboarder, Hawk's tour reached 7 million tweens in nearly 70 markets.
And now Bagel Bites, an official sponsor of the Winter X Games, wants to send you to this summer's X Games. Check out the grocery store. Log on to bagelbites.com for more info. Many will enter, few will win. Bagel Bites, bite into excitement.
Long story short, his endorsement generated an extreme boost in sales. After 13 weeks of advertising with the Birdman, the company saw a 26% increase in consumption. And the following year, Bagel Bites experienced an astounding 32% increase in sales. Results that at least one advertising analyst felt almost defy logic for a 15-year-old brand. With that kind of success, you'd think they would bring Hawk on as a full-time spokesman even after the Winter X Games ended. And that's exactly what they did. The company noted the response to Hawk's endorsement and, cleverly taking advantage of the hype surrounding his career and recent video game, they decided to make him their principal spokesperson. Among other things, the Birdman was featured in a series of now classic commercials in which he hawked Bagel Bites from atop his board. Sales of Bagel Bites shot through the roof like Tony Hawk doing a sick-ass vert trick. Their reputation as a cool kid snack was sealed.
Excuse me, Mr. Hawk. Could you, share? No way. Bagel Bites, now!
Back in the 90s, there were really only 2 options for your Bagel Bites: cheese and pepperoni. Not that we're complaining. But time marches on, and everything, even Bagel Bites, must evolve. Today, you can buy them in several varieties, which are still mostly pizza-inspired. Why mess with a good thing? 3 cheese, for example, is a combination of, well, 3 cheeses, which are specifically mozzarella, Monterey Jack, and cheddar over marinara sauce. Other varieties include breakfast style with bacon, egg, and cheese. You can even get bagel dogs, which sounds like a Pixar film but are actually pig-in-a-blanket style Oscar Mayer mini hot dogs wrapped in a bagel batter. Despite all the meatloaf and Tony Hawk, Bagel Bites also have a dark side. In the early 2000s, Totino's Pizza Rolls were making a name for themselves in the frozen pizza snack business. And Bagel Bites was not having that shit. They ran an ad with a side-by-side photo comparison of a pizza roll and a bagel bite, which highlighted the ingredients of the cheese used in the 2 products. Long story short, the Bagel Bites people accused the Totino's people of using an extremely unhealthy processed mozzarella cheese substitute, while pointing out that Bagel Bites used real cheese in their product. The ad then asked the melodramatically leading question, which would you give your kids? Bet that scorched the roofs of their mouths. And if starting the whole cheese-related beef wasn't enough, it turned out that all the bluster about their real cheese may actually just have been a lot of bull. According to Food and Wine, in May of 2021, a class action lawsuit seeking monetary and injunctive relief was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Wisconsin, alleging that Bagel Bites was deceiving their customers through statements on the packaging since the product does not contain real mozzarella cheese and tomato sauce, as these foods are understood and expected by consumers. Bagel Bites responded that the lawsuit lacks any merit and that they would strongly defend their brand, and it appears they did. The suit was dismissed in 2022. Most people love Bagel Bites, but some people really love Bagel Bites. According to a survey of over 28,000 homes conducted from February of 2014 to March of 2015, 1.24% of U.S. households devour 5 or more packs of Bagel Bites over the course of 30 days. In other words, roughly 350 of the homes surveyed were burning through 5 or more boxes of Bagel Bites a month. How could anyone possibly eat so many Bagel Bites, you ask? We assume they must be eating pizza in the morning, in the evening, and at supper time. Because when pizza is on a bagel, well, you know. Sing it, meat.
Oh, you can eat pizza anytime, yeah.
So what do you think? Are you a bagel biter or a pizza roller? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.